Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Destination Freedom with Shazia Pay. We're going to give people time to get on. If you're online already, say hey to me. Hey, Ann. Hey, Natalie. If you're on YouTube, say hey to us. I'm nervous, excited, y'all. First of all, London said hey. Hey, Lundeezy. I got a professional podcaster on my podcast. What about that? How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Helena. Hey, Shanice. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, Abria. Y'all come on in. Let's show him. He coming. He coming, London. He on here though. Gene, your sister calling you a big head. How am I sounding out there, everybody? Come on in. Come on in. Everybody doing good? I'm gonna ask everybody to tag somebody in this live and share it and subscribe to my YouTube page, Destination Freedom with Shazia Pay. Share this live. Very clear. Good. Hey. We'll give people a few more minutes to come on, and I'll bring my guest on, and we're going to get started. Thank y'all for joining us. What's up to my people on YouTube? Hey, Lenata. Huh? All right. Hey, son. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for tuning in tonight to this episode, Transformation, making it all make sense with my special guest. We'll be right back with you to get started right after these messages. It's going to work this time, y'all. All right. Thank you again for tuning in to Destination Freedom with Shazia Pay. My name is Shasta. I'm your host, and I have a very special guest tonight. I have my nephew. This is my blood nephew, Gene Bannister. Eugene. What's up, Gene?
What's going on, Shazzy?
How you doing tonight?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing good. So we're going to talk about transformation tonight. Transformation is a thorough or dramatic change in form or appearance. And I chose this purposely because your life and your body has changed in a dramatical way. And it's changed tremendously right in front of our eyes. So we're going to talk about it tonight. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Like I said, this is my nephew, y'all. This is the first one to make me an aunt. So this is my oldest, my nephew brother. He think he my daddy sometimes, but it's my nephew brother. Go ahead.
Well, you my sister, cousin, auntie, so
Right.
we have that relationship. What's going on, everyone? My name is Gene Bannister, aka Gene Ban, on all social media. I am Shazzy Yapay's oldest nephew, and I'm happy to be here. I'm excited.
That's what's up. I'm happy to have you here. All right, we just gonna go dive right in. I sent this to you, but maybe what 14, 15 years ago, 2007, 2008, we worked together. We spent a lot of time together. What 45 minutes each way, back and forth to work, arguing like brothers and sisters. Y'all, we argued real bad, but we shared a lot though on our journeys. We shared a lot with each other as far as life, the things that we've encountered, and to look back now, to look back at where we were then to where we are now. Our lives have dramatically changed, but we were both severely scarred from life, just in our conversations. So looking back to then and now, just give us a synopsis of how your life has changed in the past 14, 15 years.
Yeah, I didn't think about it when you sent the question, but now that you say it, 14, 15 years ago when we started working together, that means that you and I probably only had a real relationship for about 2, 3 years prior. As For about 18 years, I didn't have a relationship with that part of the family. But ever since that time, I've actually grown my own family. I have my wife and my son. Started a different career, started a business, and also do my best to dedicate my life to God. And those rides were very argumentative, but they were fun, and we spent a lot of time together, just talking a lot of nonsense, but also talking a lot of real things, and being very vulnerable. And those car rides, along with other things that has transpired over the last 14, 15 years, have allowed me to be where I'm currently at, sitting here today. So
Right, that's awesome. And y'all, we really did argue a lot. It was a lot of quiet moments. Driving from New York to New Jersey, we had a lot of quiet moments because we both are hard headed, and like when we get our mindset on something, we sticking to it. It's no moving. So, but I'm so proud to see your life. As I've watched you over the years, when I moved back here, as I watched you, I'm so proud to see how you've grown, to see how you've matured, to see just to see your life prosperous, your marriage, your son. It's just a beautiful thing as like an auntie sister to see
thank you.
your growth as a person, a man of God. I had the pleasure of doing your flyer. You did your initial sermon in 2020, I believe.
Yeah, yes, yes. You were the first person I thought to reach out to, and I just within itself was surreal. Still obviously it's still a process with that, as in our natural mindset we're not where we want to be in regards to that,
Right.
but we're gonna stay faithful and know that everything will work out the way it should be, and that we were not put in that position, or we didn't have that opportunity for nothing, and that when the time is right, God will have all of that work be put out there for everyone to see. So
Exactly. So let's talk about church hurt. Um, like I said, we had a lot of conversations. Just go as deep or not as you want to, but tell us how that affected you as far as life, like as far as growing up in the church, and how that affected your life.
yeah, I think if we're being honest, I'm pretty sure most of your audience may be people that grew up in the church or that attend church now or once belonged to a church, and all of us have had some sort of church hurt, because that's the place where we go to heal, and sometimes the place you go to heal at is the place you least expect to get wounded at. And even when you make a mistake, if you're in the hospital for some injuries and you accidentally cut yourself in the hospital, they're still gonna take care of you and tend to that new wound as well. So when you're in the church and you're fighting for your life out there, even if you make a mistake, as a human, you would expect the church to still not condone any mistake you made, but still embrace the person with love. And I grew up in the church all my life for in my first 19 years. And what happened was, I ended up making a couple of mistakes as a young man, and ended up confessing to them, and thought I was doing the right thing, right? Because confess your sins one to another, and I confessed my sins. And if any of you belong to a Pentecostal or apostolic church, everything but the love of God was raining, raining down on me after that. And man, I probably spent, if you know, I probably spent about 2 to 3 straight months on the altar, which means I didn't sit in the pew for about 2 to 3 months. Every time I entered the church for any type of service, Bible class, I was on my knees at the altar. You know, so long that I probably got knee imprints that's still there. And to rectify that situation, just we go deeper to it. To be honest, I was dealing with a young lady. We weren't supposed to be dating back then. I was dealing with a young lady, and I ended up doing her wrong, and ended up confessing to that. Someone lied on me, and I confessed whatever I thought I should confess, which was everything. And they told me and the young lady that we couldn't have any communication. So we were young, we were in love and everything. They say you can't have any communication unless you decide that you're gonna marry her. So I said, okay, this is the person I love. I'm gonna end up marrying her. Whatever. Got engaged to her. So got engaged. Everything was fine, but every single sermon was about how I'm a dog. I'll never amount to anything, and how I won't be anything. And for me, I think the one thing that actually that legit killed me, I was handling everything else. Everything that's about me, I can handle and I could work through that. But I ended up getting off the altar sometime, and there was a family and friends service, and for the first time ever, I actually got some of my closest friends to come with me to church, and they came to the church, and sure enough, the pastor at the time got up there and started talking about stuff and saying things, and they looked at me and said, "Is he really talking about you right now like that?" And I'll never forget, I had my little 1990 Geostorm that had a little purple mermaid sticker going to the back. If you remember that, with the dark tints.
Yeah.
And we left. I didn't say anything. We left. We all got in the church. I was driving them, and I never forget. I had to pull over because I was crying so hard that I could not drive, and that was probably one of the most lowest and most embarrassing moments in my life that ever happened to me, especially because I personally feel like it was a need to be attacked that way. And as time goes on, you find out that other people, unfortunately, probably had their motives or things that they wanted me to be or do in the church, or people who they wanted me to be with in the church, and that probably fueled, some of the sermons that were directed to me. And if you ever had a sermon directed to you when you were trying to do the right thing, it feels terrible, right? Because if you
Right.
if you're
Right.
doing wrong, it's one thing to be really doing wrong and have a sermon on you. You feel convicted, and I'm
Right.
okay with feeling convicted. But when you're doing the right thing, and then sermons are just talking about you as a person and down to your name, that's just another level of feeling worthless. Needless to say.
Right. So, and in that, you stopped going to church for a while, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah. Yeah, that was the only church I knew. I grew up
right.
there, got baptized there, got saved there, was in every choir you could think of, did every work in the church from ushering to running the camera to playing the drums, guitar, keyboard, all of those things that were, me doing work, and then some gifts that God gave me to contribute to the house as well. That's, where I started, and that's where I got those things from. And I tried to go to other churches, and I couldn't do it.
Right. But the dope part about it is, because we're all talking about the transformation part, is you did say yes to your call. You did start coming back. You connected to a church that you love, and then so the relationship part with Christ, I feel like, has made a difference in your life. Like that relationship part, and being able to overcome everything that you just told us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I don't say this to shun any fellowship at all, because fellowship is important, as we know.
Right.
And for me at that moment, as crazy as it sounds, when I was not in the church, or I didn't have a church home, it gave me actual real quiet time with God, to where my love was not formed through any choir or any man or any friends that I
Right.
had there. It was just me and God, which was why my heart started to yearn again to become a member of a church and fellowship. So it's I'm not against
Right.
religion at all.
Right.
But sometimes when we have different doctrines and everything, and people have their feelings in there, sometimes it could tarnish you and get you away from the real purpose of going to church.
Right. And that's why I wanted to touch on it, not so much to stay on that side of it, but to show your transformation. like the obvious, the transformation side of it, how far you've come, and like that relationship side with Christ, how you spent that quiet time with God. That makes so much of a difference in our lives, because once you get past the working part of it, like you said, you served in so many capacities in the ministry. But once you got that quiet time with God, you were able to develop your relationship with Him, and you were able to, progress and move past the hurt and everything that had happened. And like, God didn't do anything wrong, and I just want to encourage people on that. God didn't do anything wrong. It's
Yeah,
just,
let me make that clear along
yeah,
with you.
yeah,
God did not do anything wrong at all.
right.
It's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. It's just
It's
waiting for me to see past whatever darkness I need to see past to get back with
exactly.
him. So
Exactly. So, on this first question, I just want to encourage people that sometimes we can get hurt, and sometimes that may or may not be your story. That may, a situation similar or whatever it is. Don't leave God. Don't, don't not love God, or don't not trust God because of what man did. Because the truth of the matter is, we're all human in this flesh. We're gonna make errors. We're gonna make mistakes along the way, even from the pulpit, standpoint. Sometimes we do let you know, that human side like kind of spew out a little bit. I'm not saying it's right, but don't give up on God if that happens. Stay connected, stay in fellowship with Him, and transformation is beautiful when you get through that part. Let's go to family hurt. Again, you can talk about whatever you want to, however you want to go with that, but tell us about family hurt and how that affected you. And I want to say this, I didn't put this in your question. You told me that in a conversation you and I had probably earlier this year, you said that your marriage is going to work. You said that I'm not going to let my marriage be, whatever. I want to remind you that we had that conversation, and then just tell us where you are as far as family is concerned.
yeah, I just think there are many things that all of us we all experience life differently. There's a lot of challenges, as you and I know from our family history. If anyone goes back to I believe it was your first episode, your intro episode, one of the first ones,
Right.
and you were talking about some of the transgressions you had, and it's a strange thing when you have family that you don't know about, and
Yeah.
that within itself can play mind games on you. And what with my marriage, what I decided was the decisions that my parents made or the decisions that they didn't make, I did not want it to impact my marriage that I have with my wife at
Right.
all. And
Right.
I almost said currently, but it's not currently because it's going to be until death do us part. But
Right.
I'm very cognizant of previous lessons. I'm trying to let history be a teacher for myself,
Right.
and then hopefully could be a teacher for me and my wife. As my mom and dad didn't stay together for whatever reasons they had. So
Right. So, and to even bounce back, like, you being in our lives, you know, it's a beautiful thing to see, like, when Chris, which is my brother, your father, got married, just to see you there and see you as a very active part. And because I'm here, I'm not really there to see a whole lot of how the family, gets together and comes together or whatever. But you guys have come a really long way over the through the years.
yeah, it's I guess most kids, especially most sons, would be mad at their father for lack of better words for not being there. Whatever reason, I don't know. This had to come from God. For whatever reason, I was never mad at him. I
Right.
just never understood why I never saw him. And obviously, as you get older, kind of figure that out, right? Like kind of common sense of, what occurred in but so many ways. And I told him, I think this was earlier this year. I told him, or last year, I just told him, I was down there in VA. Like always, when I'm down there in VA, honestly, most of the time, I don't want anybody riding the car except for me and him. And that's me being selfish. That's my dad, that's my pops, and no matter what, I can never make up for the 18 years that we lost. But I try to make sure that every single moment I'm with him or I talk to him, that we make the most of it.
Right.
And we were driving, we were talking, And I just told him, I said, listen, I know, I said, I probably said this to you before, but I want you to know that I'm not upset with you. And I said, I think he had brought me some sneakers or something. And I said, look, I love the sneakers, and I want you to know that you never have to buy me anything or do anything to try to make up. Like I'm here. Like we're good.
Right. Right.
Like don't try to make up. Like that part, we'll have discussions like like always as time goes on, but that's not, he doesn't own that by himself. There's
Right.
many parties that played a part to it, and what's done is done, and I'm not gonna hold him to that. All I'm gonna do is love him the way that I love him, continue to grow in that love, make sure that my son knows who he is, which my son loves his pop, his grandpa, and that's the way I see it. I never was mad at him. I just, when I was younger, I never understood why I had flashes, which were memories of this guy that I would randomly see.
Right. Wow. But it's pretty dope. Again, we're talking about transformation. It's pretty dope how, the relationship that you were able to build and how you were able to get past the hurt. And like I talked about, I had a podcast called Daddy Issues. And it could be daddy issues, mommy issues, whatever, as far as family relationships and that and things like that. But it's not to bash anybody. Let's be clear about that. It's to show that you can have issues growing up, or you can have the disconnect with your family, with ministry, or whatever in life. But we're here today to show you that God can bring you through any situation that you go through, that He can heal the hurt. It takes time. As we face it, it makes a difference when you face it and you love on the ones that, may or may not have been there in your life. But it's a beautiful thing to look back and say, hey, this was our situation. This was our story. This is our history. But look at how God brought us,
I
as
mean,
far as that.
Shaz, if I may, like, let's be honest, right? To
Mm-hmm.
anyone that's watching, there's obviously like life responsibilities that we have to assume from choices that we make. And
Right,
my dad was 17. What 17-year-old kid is, no matter what happened, whatever parts of the story that I receive is true or not true, what I know is that my dad was 17. And I think about myself at 17, and would I want someone to still hold me accountable for things or things I didn't do when I was 17? Or would I want them to look at how I've grown over the years and what I'm doing now? And
right,
that gives me peace. Of course, there are things that I want as far as the family that I may not ever receive, but there are things close to my heart that I still want. But as far as being upset with him, it's not gonna do any of us any justice. Like I left that alone from, I don't know, like years ago before I even started coming around from the
right, right,
like it's no need. I don't understand when people are mad at one party when both parties actually play a part in that. And I understand like every situation is different to where maybe one party is just, doing everything not to contribute, but sometimes it takes two to tango, as they say. So
right,
to be honest, if I was gonna be upset with him, I had to be upset with my mother, you
right,
know?
right. And see, your maturity is speaking, like the love is speaking. And, that's an awesome thing. And like again, we're not trying to like air our dirt, our family laundry or whatever. We're just talking about the transformation, the healing
Right.
part, being able to look at it even the way that you're looking at it, or able to see things. And I see a lot of people, even when I was talking about the daddy issues, I seen people on this podcast that's like, oh, I can't forgive, or I can't let this go, or so like I'm bringing people on here, like for people to know, I'm bringing people on here that talk from a healed perspective, not from a, I'm still damaged and I want to spew. You understand what I'm saying? That's why
Yeah,
I ask people to come on, because now you're speaking from a healed perspective, because we want people to be on a destination or journey to their healing and to their freedom, so that way they can live and their families can be healthy. And that's not saying that it's going to be perfect, but we can live a healthy like home life, we can live a healthy work life, we can live a healthy family life, you know what I mean? So that's why,
absolutely.
yeah, that's why I want to talk about it, because it's a beautiful sight to see and to experience and be a part of this growth. Like as a family, like I talked to Brittany about a month ago, to see my family, to grow and to mature past the stuff that we faced. It's a beautiful thing to me. It's like I'm so proud. I'm a proud aunt. But then it's so many times that like you, I'm just going with it. Like you've helped me when I had to vent. And I had to talk to my nephew, to get like some clarity and understanding, and maybe another, well, maybe you need to see it this way, Shaz, as opposed to how I'm looking at it, or just giving you insight like Brittany did, like giving you insight on how to move forward. And I think as we became adults, it's like, hey, we can help each other now through our family stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, because it's like, yeah, think about it this way. So you keep mentioning Brittany, who's my sister, your niece,
Yeah.
and it's what am I gonna do? Continue to build a gap, or am I gonna build a bridge to the gap?
Right.
And if
That's
I don't
good.
forgive my father, it's like I have zero relationship with two little girls who are my sister, with a little boy who's my brother, who I
Right.
all met later in life. And it's like, look at us now. It's like, I was talking to Cece yesterday, and Brittany, a couple of days ago, last week. And it's like, wow, if I don't, like, what happens to our relationship? There is no relationship. I probably never even know who they are,
Right.
don't care to know who they are. And there's so many families that are going through that and that are experiencing those things. And honestly, it sounds cliche, but really, love is the answer 99% of the time.
Yes. Yes. D is on. D, which is your stepmom, which is my
Hey,
big
D
sister.
double E,
D
D
double E,
double E.
which is my sister in law, which my sister. She said family is love, and we're all we got. And hey, we got each other. It's a beautiful thing because we've crossed so many barriers. But like you said, we're gonna build that bridge to healing and repair and restoration.
Sorry, D is the one though. D is the one. I
Let's
always
go.
tell D. I I tell D all the time how much I appreciate and love her. My grandmother, who's I saw on Nana
Yeah,
Jill, I think
Nana
she was on
Jill.
there.
Yeah,
She is when I got I was like maybe 11th, 12th grade out of high school. She kept saying, "Go see Dion at the health center. Go see Dion." I'm like, "For what? Just go see Dion." Will never tell me any details. And I remember it like it's yesterday. I just go in there, probably ain't seen Dion in years since I was a little boy, probably 3 or 4. I'll go in there. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm looking for Dion." They're like, "Oh, she's in this room here." She turns around, she sees me, and she greets me as if we just were talking yesterday or earlier that morning. And I don't like that. That woman deserves all the flowers and love that I could ever give her, because she never. I am her son. Dion doesn't have any biological son, but I am her son, and
right,
that is my mother. So,
right.
like, all the love and respect to Dion always.
Absolutely. I echo that to the 10th power. Like D is glue. She's like Big Mama and and Little Mama. For she's like Big Mama. She's the one that like, oh Shaz, like she always said, we all we got. We family. And even like she and I bumped heads, but that happens in life. Those things. But I refuse to let issue separate the love that we have as a family. You know what I'm saying? Like God gave us D as a family. I'm giving you your flowers too, D. God gave us you as a sister, as a mother, to my nieces and nephews and my brother's wife. Like I thank God for you because you don't find too many people that love like you love or that want to bring people together like you do. So I just want to shout you out. She's on YouTube, but I just want to shout you out and give you your flowers too. We love you, D. Big D double E. She'll rap for us one day, y'all. So let's go. What started your transformation process? Let's go to let's talk about bodybuilding. Tell us about tell us about bodybuilding.
Oh man, well, look, we black Shasta, and when you when you're in the black household, right, growing up with siblings, and you trying to do something that's different that no one in the house knows how to do, that comes with a lot of teasing, back then, or picking on you, right?
Yeah.
These days they would call it bullying, like forget about it. Like my brothers and sisters, they probably be in a juvenile detention center the way they was doing me. And I always I always played sports, and when I got out of high school, I was trying to figure out, how to put on weight, because I was always so skinny, so small. So I was buying a whole bunch of like protein drinks and shakes and everything, and it never worked, right? So fast forward, I'm working out all these years up to about 3 years ago, and I always said through those years, like, hey, I want to work out, like a bodybuilder, but I don't want to be a bodybuilder. And what I was really saying is like, man, I would love to look as good as I thought they looked physically, with all the muscles and everything.
Right.
And about 3.5 years ago, when I moved up here, I started going to the gym. And I'll never forget this guy who's like my big brother now. You guys see him in a lot of my videos. He came up to me and he just looked at my sneakers and he was like, yo, those look like my size, whatever, pretty much saying, nice sneakers, but almost still like he was about to debo them for me, and I was like, okay, like, all right, I don't know where this is about to go. And then
Right.
end up started talking. He was like, yo, man, he's like, you look like you could be a bodybuilder. And something just clicked because all those years I was searching on how to do something that I had no idea how to do. I knew how to work out, knew how to stay in shape, get a little six pack, whatever, stay slim. But as far as the process of like really building what we call artwork, the body as artwork, I had no idea. And 3.5 years ago is pretty much where I started the journey to where this past August I just did my first contest. But the thing is, I was supposed to do, so 2019, I moved to Connecticut. That's when the whole process really started physically. And as we know, what happened in 2020? COVID,
COVID.
right?
Right.
Right. So now I'm doing all this work from 2019 to 2020 to prepare for my show. I'm about 6 weeks away from the show, and boom, everything gets shut down.
Shut down.
So
Yeah.
we're talking about 40 something weeks maybe of work to where now I have no show to do, right?
Right.
So we go through that the rest of 2020. Now I'm just eating because I'm kind of disappointed because I did the work for the show. But we get to the end of 2020, 2021. I'm like, you know what? Fitness is really my lifestyle. I'm like, all right, let me just get back in shape. So I get in shape, whatever, and then I end up finding this coach who I always would pass his store, but I never knew. And then one day I went inside his store while I was working. It was like an hour away from my house, and I had to do some work up there. One day I went inside there because I was hungry, so I went to go grab a protein bar, and I saw the flyer to the show that I was doing.
Wow.
So long story short, I already had a coach, but fast forward, I ended up connecting with him, who happened to be my coach for the past show that I just did, my very first show. Ended up getting a couple of awards, winning one of my classes. So got my pro card, got a nice cool sword, which is on my Instagram, my Facebook, and we're looking to do some, continue to do some amazing things. If God says so.
That's awesome. And if you follow him, just tell the people real quick, give them your IG and your Facebook and everything so people can just check your progress.
Yes, it's Gene Bann. It's GeneBann. That's Gene Bann on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, but I don't use Twitter like that. And YouTube too. I got them all, Shasta.
Okay. But you show us on a daily basis like your process of how,
Yeah.
you're consistent even with your eating. I don't know anything about gains and stuff. I'll be seeing your stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, but he cut though. Like he looked good though. But your consistency, I think something that stood out to me or stands out to me is your dedication to your lifestyle change. And let's just bring it full circle. Your dedication to your lifestyle change mentally, your dedication to your lifestyle change physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's something that you don't see often. Like when I see you, I don't see somebody that's just this is just what I'm doing. It's like this is who you are. Overall, this is who you are. Like the transformation. I didn't put your pictures that you showed from where you started. I didn't know how far you wanted to go with that.
It's,
But
it's your show. I'm just a
yeah.
guest.
But it's amazing to see. I seen the transformation in you spiritually or like mentally in your transformation pictures of your body, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
you can see you look lighter, and I mean that in every facet of the word. You look lighter, like life is lifing now. Like
Yeah.
you're doing really well, but your dedication to the process is what stood out to me. your dedication to building those bridges in life is what stands out to me. The reason why I wanted to talk about it, because now it's making it all make sense. Like the Bible says
Yeah.
that in Romans 8:28 that we know all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, who are called according to his purpose. So even in the things that happened the first 18 years of your life to now, you're 30 what now?
37.
You're
I had
37
to
now,
think for
but
a second.
just to see the transformation over the years and just to hear just a snippet of your story, how you've always been dedicated to the process. The time that we spent together, I'm like, when you got your mind on something, whether it was whatever, a girl, a female, or whatever, you like, Shaz, I'm gonna do this. And it's your life. It's like it's amazing to see how strong minded you are, but yet how yielding you are to the process and to God's will being done. Just, flow with me on that,
Yeah,
as far as
it's not,
process.
yeah, and it's like, so being extra saying that, it's like most people, you know, they look for the bridge to already be built, and if the
Come
bridge
on.
needs to be built, they're not trying to cross to the other side, or they only see what's on the other side instead of focusing on the bridge that they're building. For
Right.
me, I focus on the bridge that I'm building, like step by step. Most people, they want to lose 20 pounds by tomorrow.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? All right, I want to lose 20 pounds. You know what? By February, I probably could do that. And we're in middle of December. Most people's like, so I can't do it by January. And I'm like, no, February seems right because everybody just looks at the 20 pounds. But if you work through the process and learn
Come
and
on.
understand the process, the more you'll be able to actually sustain and have some consistency. And I just think that's what everything in life, right? Most people
Right.
want God to bless them, want God to do something in their life, but how often are you talking to God? How often are you reading your Bible? How
Come
often are
on.
you practicing scriptures, right? Or do you only go to God when you need Him?
Come on.
And that's the same thing. Like, do you only go to the gym when you're trying to lose weight? You
Right.
should be trying to be like, if that's your focus, you should be trying to be healthy through and through your entire life. And that takes more than just a quick magic pill and like 30 minutes on the treadmill or whatever. So for
Right.
me, like I enjoy it. I'm like, all right, this is how I look after 2 weeks. So how am I gonna look 2 weeks from now if I continue to do this? Okay. Then 2 weeks after that, how am I gonna look? So I literally take, like, today I went to the gym, of course, and I was like, man, I felt strong. I'm like, okay, I know I have to do the same exact exercise next week.
Right.
Now, if I do it this way today, I wonder how strong I'm gonna be next week. But I still focus on what I was doing today
Right.
and not look forward to next week.
Right. So enjoying the journey is what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying, like enjoying the process, because a lot of times people spend so much time, like you said, trying to get to the destination that you don't enjoy the journey. Or sometimes
Absolutely.
we want a quick fix. We want a microwave, whatever it is. And I have a confession. Um I had hit you up as far as like, Gene, I want to get this weight off. I want to get in shape. I want to make a lifestyle change. And you sent me like things to get me started. And I looked at it. I was like, okay, whoo. I don't know if I could, because I'm honestly that person that I'm like, I need this 20 pounds to come off next week. Like I need to, I need something to happen, and I never did it. But how many times did I hold myself back? Because if I
Yeah.
had done that in 2020 when you and I talked, now in 2022 going into 2023, I could have been at my
where
destination, but
where would you be?
where
And
would I
that's it.
be?
That's
That's
it's
it.
like, look, you gotta look. Obviously, shameless plug, but you gotta start somewhere, right?
Right, right,
That's the whole mantra. It's like, just like get started, like
right,
do it. And
right,
you family, so I'm not gonna hold that against you. You can ask me anytime, as many times. I'll make sure I give you whatever information. But you would be surprised how many people contact me and ask me what I did. And I don't tell them what I did because, just to be honest, most people are not going to do what I did and can't do what I did because we have different mindsets. So
right,
I give them something a little more feasible for a beginner just to help them get started and point them in the right direction, because you got to build this tolerance and this mindset up if you don't have it already. So like you
right,
said, with the 20 pounds, like tomorrow, that's most people.
right. So that helps me, that's helping me now in my process because I'm like, okay, you got to start somewhere. We're going to talk about your business and everything with this, but you got to start somewhere, Shaz, you know, but enjoy the journey. Don't focus so
Absolutely.
much on, what's going to happen when you get there. That's like, we flew to New York a couple of weeks ago. And on that journey, we're constantly looking out the window, seeing how beautiful it is, what you could see, seeing the skyline and seeing the clouds. But we enjoyed the journey. It wasn't so much, I can't wait to get there, but you were able to appreciate the flight. And that's what this is all about. Like, Destination Freedom is about, okay, we're going on this journey to our healing and our freedom. And it's not going to happen overnight, bottom line, but you have to be consistent in your process, whatever your process is, knowing that your process may not be like my process, but go through the process and enjoy the journey. So now when you get there, you can look it back and say, hey, this was beautiful. That was a little dry in whatever season that you go through, but you got to your destination.
Can I tell you, Shasta, to go back like
Yeah.
again, because I love my pops. That was like growing up. That was kind of unknowingly like my mindset, just knowing that one day I would be able to have a relationship with him. And I think about all the things I went through growing up and trying to figure myself out, and those things prepared me and allowed me to be so open. When we got the chance to have a relationship to where it was almost flawless. I'm sure it was very, very awkward for him first. As it was a little strange for me too, because at this point, obviously, he's been a full grown man for some time, and then you have your man child come back into your life.
Right.
It's a little strange, but we both were receptive, to the process. For me, like, yeah, that like my journey of those 18 years of not having a relationship with him was, I had to enjoy that process. I had, brothers and sisters I grew up with. I had a stepfather who is my father. I don't use the word step, but my father inside the home that raised me, that I grew up with, and going through processes through that family dynamic and everything that allow me to, be open minded, just to having my biological father be a part of my life as well.
Right. And let me just like brag on him. That's my brother. It's my oldest brother. But like, this guy, he's an amazing guy. Like, when I look back as a child, I was like, I ain't really, care too much for for my brother. And I think it was because of family dynamics, as far as what we had to go through. Like you said, our process being younger, we both were raised, our grandmother raised us. She raised us kind of hard, but we both experienced some of the same things, but we never talked about it. You understand? And I think um, somebody told me, don't tell it all, but I'm like, I'm telling it because, not like, again, not to make us look bad or whatever. Listen, the truth of the matter is every family has something, and no family's perfect, but the beauty of it is we were able to transition into some wonderful adults. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I look at my brother now and I'm so proud of his life. I'm proud of, everything. Like, he's just a wonderful, wonderful man. And it's like the love that he has for his family, the love that he has for, my mother, the way he looks out for all of us, the love that he shows to, um, y'all. It's a beautiful thing to see his transformation too. And yeah, D said we always got in trouble laughing because I'm silly. And D didn't make it no better. And Chris was like, y'all always laughing at something. Y'all stupid. Y'all always laughing at something. Everything ain't no joke, but we had to do we had to do something because it was tight sometimes. It was like, what's but we did laugh. We did laugh through a whole lot, D and we do it now. But none of us are perfect. Linda said none of us are perfect. But the beauty of it is we love each other through our imperfections. And that's showing the matchless love of God, because he loves us through our imperfections. He loves us through our inconsistencies. Like I said, I put myself out there. I might start. I went to the gym a full week a couple of months ago, and I thought I was doing something. The next week, I was like, I'm right. Like, I'm like, I'm right. I'm tired. So it's something to me. Now I'm like, now I'm publicly putting myself out there that you have to stick to the process. Start where you are. And because somebody told me the other day, like, you go too hard. Like, I go in and I'm like, I want results instantly in certain things. I'm just being honest. I'm like, I want to see, the fruit of my labor. But you just helped me tonight Shaz, you got to start somewhere. The consistency, and enjoy the journey along the way. I thought you was gonna
Yeah.
say something. I was giving you
No. Hey, I couldn't agree more with you. It's like, one day at a time, one foot in front of the other,
right,
and step by step. My godfather always says, uh, inch by inch, life is a cinch, but by the yard, it's awfully hard. And I
right,
take that to heart. You just got to take whatever step you could take that step. It doesn't matter if somebody else is able to take 5 or 10 steps or a larger step than you.
right.
That goes back to running your own race,
Running
right?
your
You got to
own
be like a
race.
horse having blinders on. When them horses racing, they don't know that the horse is to the left or to the right. They might hear it, but they don't see what that horse is doing. They're focused on where
Their
they're going,
race.
and
That's
we
a
should be the same exact way.
that's a sermon. That's a sermon in it. No, seriously, because if you focus on running your own race, then no matter who's running beside you, like you said, don't focus on their race because you're gonna run off the track. You're
Yeah,
gonna lose focus. You're gonna crash. Some people are gonna crash along the way. Run your race. Stay focused on your journey. Sometimes we might have to help somebody along the way, but
yeah.
don't let that be your don't let
No,
that be your focus.
you
You know
you
what I'm
can't.
saying?
You can't. It's like look, I lift a lot of weight in the gym, like I do, like especially for my size, right?
Right,
But guess what? There's somebody in the gym that lifts way more weight than me. And
right,
if I was focused on them, I probably would injure myself trying to do what they do
right,
when I have my own progress.
right,
Like I can't focus on that person that's lifting some weight that they probably work themselves up, right? They had to start day by day as well too.
right.
And if I compare myself, just like to go back to what you said, some people being about microwave, I always say leftovers taste better when it's cooked in the oven,
Let's
even though the
go.
oven takes longer. And for me, I'm just like, all right, it might take me longer to get there, but guess what? When I get there, it's gonna be so much better. Like y'all, come on, y'all know the people that love macaroni and cheese. You want to heat it up in the oven so it'll get a little crispy, or you want to heat it up in the microwave so it'll be soggy and chewy.
Help the people. Help the people out because I get judged for cutting the oven on to heat my leftovers up. But I
Right? Come
get the
on now.
whole, I get the gist of it. Like I want my chicken to be crispy and
Yeah,
not
yeah.
chewy. So that's saying go through the process. And you might have to take the longer route. Now, some things might come quick, but everything
Mhm.
is not like that. So go
Right.
through each and every process. Let's walk our own journeys out. Let's, enjoy the journey and let's get there. One step at a time. Like I say on here, one flight at a time. We're going to get to our destination. It doesn't happen overnight. London said that she's proud of us and she taught us well. I just want to
thank, thank you, Big Toe.
thank you, thank you, Lundeezy. But let's talk about these dope hoodies that we have on. Tell us about your business. Pronounce it right for me, and tell us about
Yeah,
it.
it's pronounced genetics, but I don't care how you pronounce it as long as you're saying it. That's what I'm about. Just as long as you're trying to say it, if when you look at it, really it's every a lot of things happened during the pandemic. Being I was heavy into fitness and everything, I wanted to I was looking for a hashtag to describe myself. I had just got married, just got a son. I was, getting myself back into shape. And I had started using a hashtag on Instagram called Genesic Gene, right? Which is GENESIC and then Gene. And then, I was like, I need to figure something else out with this. But what it meant was genetic is like the beginning, the start of like the formulation. So being that I had so many new things in my life, I was like, oh, genetic gene, because I wasn't. There's no way I was gonna be able to be the gene that I was with all these new things. So I had to become like a new person. I had to start over again. I had to, put myself in a father mindset, a husband mindset, and commit to learning those things along the way. And then I had a conversation with a friend, and I was talking about the hashtag, and they was like, "Why don't you do genesics, like GENESIX?" And I was like, "Oh, I was like, I could do that, right? Because obviously it has my name in it, Gene. It has the number six, which I was born in June, so it's the 6th month." And then genesic is derived from Genesis, like the beginning, right?
Right, right.
And then also we know that on the 6th day God created man, right? When
Come
we were
on.
formulated. So all those things just started flooding me. Like, I was like, whoa, all these ideas came out. And I started with a T-shirt and socks. That was all I had was T-shirt and socks. And if you leave it up to me, the company would have been started in summer. No, in the end of 2022. It would have been, no, sorry, in the end of 20. COVID was 2020. So the company would have been started in summer of 2020 if you left it up to me. But obviously, God has his own plans, and we actually did not launch until November 5th of last year.
Wow. And so, what do you have now? I know we got the hoodies, the
Yeah, I
jogger
have
set.
yeah, we have hoodies now. I have shorts. I have women's sports bras and leggings. Um, I have socks, uh, crop tops, sleeveless hoodies. A couple of different SKUs. Sweatsuits. My son has two special made sweatsuits that he markets for me. He just wears them out and about. We're trying to see how people feel about them. And right now, since we're in year two, we're actually focusing on expansion and looking to do some things to really build the business the way that we know we can. And I see like any relationship, like business, like marriage, anything like like a brick and mortar store, like the first 5 years is really a test. And I'm focused on year two right now, but focused on year two, thinking about making it to year five because I know if we make it to year five, then we'll be all right.
You'll be all right over the hurdle. So, I want you to put it in the chat as well. But tell us where we can shop to get your products. I want y'all to go like this is good quality, down to the socks, y'all. The socks are like it's not thin. The socks are everything. They like compression socks for me. Like
Thank
they
you.
feel great. The material in this is great. It's a great quality. It's a great brand to represent. So tell the people where we can purchase your items.
Yes, www.g6genetics.com. That's www.g6genesix.com.
All right. So y'all hit him up, go shopping, and get this good quality. Good quality, but not just that. What it means and represent it. I'm
Yeah,
so.
that's the
Go ahead.
that's the thing too. It's like everything is, oh man, everything is such a process, right? It takes like extreme patience. I went from having a team to being a one man show with
Wow.
with the brand, and it gave me some delays. It gave me some delays, and it was very frustrating. And at the time of the drop, me and my wife were beefing, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like what is going on?" It just seemed like everything was kind of getting in the way. But again, here we go again through that process. It allowed me to really appreciate, um, what I have with
Right.
this. I know that I didn't. There's no way I could think of this on my own. I
Right.
know it came from God, and
Right.
I want to do my best to be very honorable within it. Obviously, we're going to be a very honest businessman and take care of the people. And then also, thank you for shouting out the quality because that gives delays too. I don't purchase anything without getting samples, but then when I get the samples, I give it out to people so they could give me honest feedback.
Right.
That's why it took me a whole year to get something that I'm comfortable with selling exclusively to women as far as leggings and sports bras because I'm like everyone deserves the best if it's coming from me, and if I could provide that, that's what I'm going to provide. If I can't provide it, I'm not selling it. You'll
Right.
probably get it for free in a goodie bag as an extra thing, but I'm not going to sell it. And honestly, like I tell everyone, the only difference between me and Nike is that they've been doing it longer and they built up a million followers, and
Right.
we're just in the ground. So that's the only difference.
Right. And we're gonna get there. We're gonna get
Absolutely.
there.
Yep.
D said, when can we get the white ones?
The white ones will be made again. Those are hot sellers. They sell out every time I drop those socks.
Okay. All right. So soon come. Before we end, what can you say to help other men and women overcome some of the things you have, or just we talked about a lot about the journey, about the process. I hope listening to you tonight, people that didn't know you, kind of get a better feel of why we chose this transformation, making it all make sense. Because look at your life now. But what could you
Right.
say to us to encourage us along the way on this journey?
Yeah, I apologize to anyone that was looking for something like flashy or juicy. I'm trying to graduate past those things and really look at life and be ideal about life, but be very realistic about what needs to happen and what's going on. And I would say sometimes it's good to be a follower, but most times you got to step out and think for yourself and really lean on what God is telling you to do, asking you to do, and also what you know you need to do. And sometimes that's going to be a very lonely road, because
Right.
physically there's not going to be people there with you. Mentally, you might be in a completely another mindset. Emotionally, you may be closed off to things that entertained you in the past because you're no longer that person. And don't let anyone shame you for wanting to be different when you know you're going the right way.
Right.
Do what you know to do. Stay true to it, hold strong, because at the end of the day, once you get to the other side of wherever you're crossing, it's going to be well worth it.
Hey, man, that's awesome. I want to say this before we end, and maybe give somebody a chance to ask you any questions. Somebody told me yesterday, I think it's pretty dope how you letting people be on your platform, in the infant stage, basically. And my response is, we're gonna do it together. Like whatever I do, like number one, God first, but my family is going with me. Wherever I go, we live 600, 700 miles away from each other. That doesn't
Yeah,
change the fact that we're family, and that there's nothing but love there. And I'm always going to support. I'm always going to support my nieces and nephews no matter what you do. I'm always going to support my brothers and my sisters and whatever we do, because that's love and that's family and that's what we're supposed to do. So we going on this journey together with everything that we do. You've helped me so much just in this conversation, as you have in the past, as you did 15 years ago, when even when we argued, I listened to you. I don't look at you like, as you really like became my nephew brother. We built a bond that you know
but can I say, I
yeah.
like obviously I already loved and respected you, but being that you had that mindset and even that willingness, that made me just like look at like wow, like my aunt really is listening to me, like listening to what I have to say, because a lot of times when someone is your senior or an adult to a child, they're quick to shun you because they know more than you or they have more life experience than you. And
Right.
I think that's a ignorant standpoint for most people. But I'm really, really grateful that you didn't have that standpoint. We had a lot of arguing from times of me being late,
Yeah.
doing things at the
Yeah.
job that
Yeah.
I should have been doing, and,
Yeah.
just many, many different situations. At the end of the day, both of us truly wanting the same thing, but seeing a different way of how to go about it.
Right.
And when push came to shove, we were able to always find that common ground no matter what.
No matter
And
what.
that's why Shasta will always be my auntie, cousin, sister, always. So
Always, and I love you dearly.
love you
Um,
too.
D said, Shaz, thank you for providing this platform for people to be transparent and set their spirits free. Such a blessing. Man, I'm just grateful to God, honestly, to be able to do this. I pray before I do everyone. I pray and ask God that if it's one person that gets help, from this podcast, then I've done what I was supposed to do. And if
Yeah,
somebody, gets another step in their journey to freedom, that's all. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help other people be free, to be healed, and like you just helped us to enjoy the journey, the
yeah,
bumps in the road or whatever, but enjoy the journey as we go. Um,
yeah.
do you guys have any questions for Eugene or myself before we log off? He'll put it. I'll pin it in the chat. How to go, get his merch. Y'all really go support. It's an awesome business with an awesome meaning, great quality, great price, all of it. I push it.
Thank
I
you.
support it.
And we're running a sale on the legacy products right now. So the products that we came out with in the first year, we're actually running a sale on it right now. So
All right, so hit the website up, y'all, and check them out. London says she's inspired by both of us. You inspire me, London. London is his sister, my niece, Brittany.
yeah,
But you inspire me, and I love the family dynamics. I love our heart, the heart that we have as a family. and I'm grateful for the family that I'm blessed to be a part of. And I wouldn't trade you guys for nothing in the world. This is the end of this podcast. I really enjoyed talking to you, Gene. Um, I
Thank
think
you.
I think I'm gonna do another one next week just to kind of recap. I actually yesterday was 6 months from the date that I started doing Destination Freedom with Shazzy Pay. I started on
But
Juneteenth.
before we log off,
Go ahead.
I remember you reaching out to me asking me, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing," and I just was like, "Okay, do it." Like,
Yeah,
hey, here's a couple of things, and then you
yeah,
sent me some stuff, and I was like, "Okay, does it come with X, Y, Z?" You're like, "Oh, it has this, it has that." I was like, "All right, then do that." Hey, I think I'm gonna start. All right, start. I'll be waiting to see, and I'm just glad that you did it. I know it's on your heart and mind, and I'm grateful that you gave me the opportunity to be on here. There's a lot all of us probably could do like part two, three, four, five, six, seven.
right,
Like
right,
there's a lot of things. This the way we're discussing this obviously is always for the transformation to show how we came out gold right through the fire. But there
right,
are so many things that we can discuss and can get deep on because we're normal, just like anybody else.
right.
There's a lot of hurt, but we choose and we decided to not live in that hurt,
Exactly.
and that's really is maybe the only thing that separates us from other people that are still going through those aches and pains. Because the reality is, it did happen,
Right,
right? And
right,
once you realize that, what are you gonna do about it? Are you
right.
gonna continue to live
Exactly.
where it happened at, where you were hurt at?
Yeah.
Or you're gonna figure out how you can heal and how you could bring along other people with you. And I
Let's
much
go.
rather live that way,
Right,
especially because I am the eldest, right?
right.
I no matter what, I'm the eldest of all everyone on
Yep,
both sides. Like
yep.
I have to set the example. Like this is what I want. This is how we're doing it. If you're interacting with me and my family that I'm building, this is how it's gonna be.
Right,
And you can be a part of that or not. It's up to you.
right. Bottom line, right? Nana Jill, we love you. She said she's proud of us.
Love you, Nana.
Um, D said always choose and never settle. All right, we love you guys. Everybody that said I love you too. Merry Christmas to everybody. This is the conclusion of this flight, Destination Freedom to Shazzy Yapay. Transformation, making it all make sense with my nephew, Gene Bannister. It's been an awesome podcast tonight. Thank you again for joining us. You have a great night and a Merry Christmas. Talk to you guys soon.